It's amazing how your story brought things up in me, because the facade that we put on. I remember when I was living in Vancouver, and it was days when I was so depressed because I couldn't find my way. And what he's describing in the psalm is how I was feeling. But people didn't see me that way. They saw me in a very different way. And I remember that a friend of mine said, you know, you have a good speaking voice and you would be great on radio. And he got me an interview with CKNW in Vancouver. And the radio program was called the Sunday Night Sex Show with Sue. And so I went for an interview, and they hired me. And there were 3 or 4 other people that were interviewed as well. And one of the other people was a couple. I had my first show. I did the first show, and people loved it. But there was a couple who were sex therapists, graduated university, and they were accredited. And I remember someone asked me about AIDS, and I translated it as autoimmune disease, because that's how it sounded to me. And they called me up at home and gave me hell. How dare you? Who do you think you are? You have no education. You're not prepared for a show like this, and it's not autoimmune disease. It was some other name. And because I never showed who I really was, I had a facade, inside I was dying, because I never had confidence in myself, and I had no idea how I was going to pull this off. And I became so depressed. I went into such a severe depression in that moment that I couldn't do the show. Even though they weren't looking for a sex therapist accredited, they wanted someone who was fun. And I didn't see it that way. And it sent me into a living hell. And those next few years were hell in my life. And now it's so much easier, and I thank Rabbi for that, because he cuts through all the garbage. He can see us for who we are. God sees us for who we are. And when we're really willing, as you said, to take a look inside and say, God, search me and let me see who I am. I'm nobody perfect. But because he's always with us, he uses us as we are, as broken vessels. And if we're willing to take the smallest gift that he gives us and use it for him, it's amazing what he does with us. So that's our New Year's message, not to be afraid to give everything to him, because what he gives back is so much more than we can ever imagine. So let's get rid of our facades. It doesn't mean we can't dress nicely. Doesn't mean we can't wear makeup and look good. We just really have to know that in ourselves we're broken. We really have nothing to offer him. But he uses us in the smallest gift. And they show themselves. I remember, Dennis, when you said to me, I don't think I'm a good teacher. And everybody loves your teaching. And I couldn't understand, but I get it because of how I felt then. And I said, but I'm not good at this. But God says, but I'm going to use you in spite of yourself. So Shana Tova, and may God use each of our gifts for his glory.